Good day buddies. For today's video, we'll relax a bit and build a soil-less terrarium. A place for harmless tiny critters to thrive, and a piece of nature that we could place anywhere at home. It's the one they call a mossarium. As the name suggests, it will be started by moss, a plant that makes every natural and farm or terrariums look great. Before we begin the build, allow me to give a shout out to the coolest guys on the channel. Jeffrey Miles, Sean, M Pro Gamer, and the latest addition, the Hunt Kick. Help we got the name right. Thank you so much buddies for supporting the channel's project, and making every episodes possible. Let me also say welcome back buddies. And for those new to the channel, you're also welcome to D-Colony. For this project, we're gonna use this container, which we already use on previous builds of ant farms, and several other bug enclosures. We'll put the link of the acrylic box on the description. The next thing we'll need for the build is a rock. I'll be using a dragon stone. As if we don't have the right piece, this rock could be easily broken into smaller pieces. Then we could just glue their pieces together to construct how we want our rock formation. In my case, I'm lucky enough to end up with a nice piece just from breaking the first rock. As it has the looks that I want, this view from here which looks like a natural rocky mountain with the pointed peak. But later on, I find the opposite a better suit for the project, as it has lots of this crevices here, which will allow us to plant more. We'll just gonna glue it to another piece, to make it stand on its own like a real mountain. Anyway, we sand the bottom of the base in a rough wall, to get this flat finish. This way we can glue it sturdy enough to the glass later. Using super glue, we're fixing them together forever. To make the joint stronger, we looked for a piece that we could glue on the gaps. As long as they came from the same piece of rock, their joints will look natural. We can also sprinkle the gaps to cover the glue, with this stone powder that comes from breaking a piece of rock earlier. And again, using super glue, we're now going to fix the rocky mountain on the base glass. We've also added random rocks on the base for details. Anyway, we'll just block the crevices with open side like this, so the plants won't fall off. We could also do it to add more space for planting, like what we did here. And here, and here. We let the glue dry for 24 hours buddies, before planting. As the fumes from it while drying will permanently stain the acrylic container. The next day, we started by placing a thin layer of carbonized rice hull on the base for filtration. This will be soil-less buddies, as we're using sphagnum moss as substrate. We'll place a layer of it on the base by pressing it down firmly. This will also allow the rock to absorb moisture over time. And of course, we're also filling those crevices on the rock with the moist sphagnum moss, which retains moisture so well, and will keep our plants hydrated. After stuffing every crevices, time to get it planted. The main moss we'll be using is a hornum moss, like what we've planted here on our cryptic ant farm. They somehow look like a cattail moss. Anyway, what I'm showing you here is the moss we've planted 2 months ago. As we can see, they are already growing well, with lots of new shoots. We can see tiny new mosses growing from the old fallen mosses on this rock. They're spreading nicely. We just need to make sure they won't get totally covered by the bigger plants, depraving them with light that can kill them. Most of the old mosses that we planted is gone now, as they turned dark green to black, but that doesn't mean they died. They just grown new healthy leaves that is adapted to our terrarium's condition. In keeping moss, you just need to make sure they're moist most of the time. On this tank I mist them with rainwater once to twice a day depending on the temperature. Take note, buddies, they love rainwater, and will easily thrive if you supply them with it. So make sure you catch and keep some for them on the rainy seasons. In planting them, it's also very easy. It's done by just pressing them firmly to the substrate. Anyway, we're gonna add some other type of moss, and we'll collect them on my other little terrariums. Here's a 4 years old closed jar terrarium, only opened once since it's been constructed. I'm not yet planning to open it in years to come, but we'll do it anyway since we need to collect the beautiful moss that's present here. As the online store where I bought it before had stop operations, I also forgot the name of the moss, so feel free to drop them on the comments, buddies, in case you're familiar on how they look. We'll just spread them on this upper middle part. I know this is supposed to be a soil-less terrarium, buddies, but we got some soil along with the moss so we won't damage the root system. This way they can easily adapt. After pressing them down, the foliage doesn't look good as they're so thin. But we need to do it to make sure they stick to the substrate, so there's no helping it. Anyway, we planted them around this area. Time to collect another type of moss, this time on this 5 years old close jar terrarium. We opened it after a long time, so might as well clean the glass quick. Our target here are this beautiful mosses, another one with thin leaves, which I also forgot the name, so feel free to let me know if you happen to know the name, buddies. We'll just collect and spread a few patches of them, and hope they can adapt here as well, as a variety of moss thriving together is what I'm really looking forward on this build. On this patch we got a tiny fern to come along, so we just planted it as well. But we might remove it later if it grows so big for the setup. We also added some patches of it on the ground level. And after planting all around the top, we just spread the remaining horner mosses on the ground level as well. And done. Some may tell the outcome isn't so great. I get it, and I might agree. But when I set up a terrarium, I don't aim for an instant beauty by loading it with lots of plants. What I want, however, is for it to grow into that beauty, so we're giving a space for that to happen naturally. Anyway, let's hydrate it. And introduce springtails. They will be the inhabitants which will keep our mossarium mold free, as they snack on molds. At night, moisture buildup like this naturally happen as of colder temperature outside the glass. But most of this build should be gone in the day, or at least lessened. If not, the terrarium have too much water inside. Here we did it on purpose to soak the rock for its needed moisture. This build-up however is loved by the moss inside, but it shouldn't be too thick, especially on the day that it will block the light, which is bad for the plants. If we want to lessen the build-up, we can just wipe it off directly on the glass. We can also lay a tissue paper on the base or substrate to collect the excess moisture easily, if heavy build-up during the day continues. Anyway, after a few days, the moss's leaves started to take form as they try to face the light. Just look at this springtail over here, doing its job so well. This is the front view. But the other sides looks great for me as well. I hope you're excited as me, on what the future awaits for this tiny little world. As nature in a pocket ideas is one of my favorite things for sure. And let me give our ending shout out to our buddy, Dr. Tadesy. I just hope you have learned something from this video, guys. Be a genie for the first time by granting my wish and tapping the like and share button. That would help a lot. This is D Colony, saying goodbye for now, but hoping to see you on my next videos.